Hi everyone, welcome back to Student Pages Spotlight series. I am your host Izzy, and today I'm joined by the incredibly talented Chloe Fox. Thank you
Oh,
so much for joining us today, and how are you doing?
thank you for having me. That was really nice. Yeah, no, I'm really good, thank you. Yeah, all is good in the world. Summer's here, and I'm just happy for the good weather.
Amazing. Oh, have you got good weather? It's been raining all day here,
Has it
unfortunately.
really?
Yeah, not been
Oh
ideal.
no. June, what's
Supposedly
going
summer,
on? Yeah.
exactly. Well, I'll kick things off. You are the star lead female character Celeste in Paramount's highly anticipated and new thriller, The Highest Stakes. You played this role alongside Seth Green. It was an incredible film and such a phenomenal achievement. Do you feel like you were made for this role, and do you feel like there are any similarities between yourself and Celeste?
Aw. Um, yeah, you know, it's hard to say. I don't know if I was made for the role. I'd like to think so. I mean, she's so sweet. Like I definitely connected to her very much, especially sort of my younger self and my younger, very early 20s and stuff. I feel like Celeste and I probably share very similar traits. You know, she's very naive, she's very innocent, she's very sweet and kind of sees the best in people and things, which is very endearing, I think. Um, and yeah, I was I made for it? I don't know. I, it was hard to say when I very first got the material because I was only given, I think it was one or two scenes, and there was no context to the rest of the movie. Um, and the scene I had to take was like the very last scene, not the very last scene, but when they're all kind of at the poker table and things are
Mhm.
kind of revealed. And I had no context to the rest of the thing. So I kind of played her sort of evil. Um, and it was only sort of later down the line, I was like, oh, this is a totally different vibe. But yeah,
You kind of got to know it more as it adapted.
yeah.
So, what was it about that little scene that you got to read initially? What was it about that that drew you to this script? I mean, such an incredible scene, obviously, but was there anything in particular that like about the storyline that you felt you connected with?
Sure. Like initially it was kind of vague because again, I was just
Mhm.
sort of given that scene, but I enjoyed it because um it was kind of psychological and confusing, and you know, I as things were being revealed in that scene, I kind of didn't know the context, so it was sort of confusing and strange. And I love psychological thrillers and things where you're kind of not quite sure where it's going. So that was really fun. Um, and then yeah, we went and I did a recall in person, and Stephen Paul, the producer, was there, and he was so lovely. And Eloise, who was already cast as Aurora, was helping out, and she was so lovely. Um, and so that was kind of a good pointer of like, oh well, if I got to work, you know, on this, it would be with nice people. And when I did get it, then I got to read the script, and I that's when I was like, oh, this is really cool. I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I mean, I love a psychological thriller, so I can imagine how much fun that would have been kind of
Yeah.
like kind of unveiling this story as you go along. I can imagine that was so much fun.
Yeah.
Um, so what is your favorite type of character to enact and why?
That's interesting. I mean, I've never really played a bad character yet. Like all of mine have been pretty sweet and endearing. Maybe not always like the best of characters, actually, but not like evil. So I feel like it would be fun one day to delve into something kind of yeah, get my teeth into something like that at some point. But
Hmm.
I do love sort of like innocent, bubbly characters that um I got to play like kind of like a little dumb character. That was one of my first sort of roles that I got to play, and she was so fun. And my favorite genres are comedy and probably psychological thrillers as well.
Hmm.
So I think anything that kind of fits into that world or those worlds, I love. Um, but yeah, like the fun thing about being an actor is like the versatility of it. And like I
Mhm.
would just love to try anything that, anything that people give me the opportunity to try, I'd love.
So hopefully we'll see you in maybe a villainous role at some point in the future.
One day, that could be fun. Yeah.
Well, you have had an incredible rise up the ranks. You've had credits in things such including Love in Taipei, Sky, and 44 episodes, I believe, of Find Me in Paris. Incredible. Could you tell us a little bit about your training background and how you took this path?
Sure. I went to college. I did a BTEC in a place called Emile Dale Academy, which is in Hertfordshire. Um, and I did that for 2 years. That was really fun. That was in musical theatre. Um, so there's a bit of dance, but I was never like my mum was a dancer, and I didn't really follow in her footsteps with that. But it was great for fitness. I'll tell you that. I'm really glad for those years for fitness. Wow, they really worked us hard. Um, and then I always wanted to sort of go to drama school afterwards. And so that was the plan. But I kind of got to the end of the BTEC and I just felt like I needed a year off the kind of education thing. So I did. And I just got really lucky. I kind of managed to get myself a kind of commercial modeling agency. And through that, I got a couple commercials and then was able to kind of approach some acting agencies and just got really, really lucky. Um, and after that, just continued to book a couple more commercials, and then I landed Find Me in Paris, and so I was so so lucky.
And then it all went from there. Incredible.
Yeah, yeah.
And so how have you utilized social media to enhance your career, and what significance do you place on this for anyone that's looking to get into the industry? How important do you believe it is to utilize social media these days?
I think nowadays it is probably quite important, and it's silly for me to say because I've really gotten lazy with social media posting. Like I haven't. It's a weird thing. You get out the habit, and then the idea of getting back into it, it feels so
hmm
alien. So I'd
hmm
probably recommend to not do that, not take massive breaks and then have no idea how to get back into it. But I I felt like I used it quite a lot during when I got Find Me in Paris, and especially sort of after the first season came out, because you had
hmm
fans of the show that were
hmm
really excited to see what you were up to. So it kind of felt fun and really interactive getting to post, and
hmm
like you knew people were really excited to see you, and so that was really really fun. But yeah, I don't think it's the end of the world. Like now, I don't think you have to be involved with social media if it's really, really not your thing. If just acting or theatre, is the route you want to go down. But um, I think if you're just interested in the entertainment space as a whole, I think it's incredibly helpful. Um, and it gives you an opportunity to sort of have your own power as well. You can kind of, it's a way to market yourself and put yourself
hmm
out there. And I think casting directors and companies, at the end of the day, they're wanting to get views and eyes on their movies and TV shows. And so if you have a full backing behind you, it's gonna massively help. So I
Yeah.
need to take my own advice and start posting more.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like I feel like what you said about being able to build these relationships and the interactivity of it is such a great thing when building your
Yeah.
career as well. But kind of with that being said, is there anything in particular that you would like to see in the industry going forward?
I think things changed a lot with COVID. Like,
hmm
when my career before COVID wasn't really that long. I think I got out of college maybe 2016, 2017. So
hmm
it was only sort of a few years before COVID hit. But before then, it was sort of you'd go to a lot of in-person auditions more, and then COVID hit and it's just all self-tapes,
hmm
which
hmm
in some ways is so great because people that maybe live outside of London and big cities and stuff are not having to sort of fork out a ton of money to go all the way to London and be in the room for 10 minutes. And then that's that, you know. So it's really lovely that way. But at the same time, it's kind of less personable and you don't get to sort of meet the director and talk to them. And
Mm,
um, it really helps being able to have that one-on-one where you can kind of show them that you can take direction and get a real idea of what they're looking for as well. So it would be nice to have that come back a little bit more,
mhm.
but I really do value not having to sort of go and then feel like your time's wasted because they've seen a ton of people and you never hear back. So maybe for callbacks, it would be nice to just sort of get back in the room a bit
Mhm.
more. I think would be
Mhm.
lovely. And yeah,
And do you feel that being able to do a lot of self-tapes online kind of eases the pressure a little bit? Because as you said, often you might be in a room for 10 minutes and then you never hear from them. There's a lot of scrutiny within this world. So what are your ways that you overcome these nerves, or do you feel like this kind of alleviates that pressure a little bit?
yeah, it like in a way, it's really nice not, you know, having to deal with that because it can be really nerve-wracking, but it's one of those sort of double-edged swords. It's like it's great, but then at the same time, if you then ever do have to get in a room because you've got
Mm,
so far down the line, it's so alien to you that it's like
hmm.
petrifying because you're like, I'm not
Yeah.
used to this, and now I'm having, you know. And so when you're kind of in the phase of having to do it quite regularly, it was still nerve-wracking, but it was kind of a you were used to it,
Hmm.
and so I think you could kind of deal with the nerves a little bit better. And also the weird thing about self-taping is you think it's going to be so much easier because it's like, well, I'm in control and I can do it how much I want. But if you're not careful, you then end up being super self-critical and you're just like taping this thing for
Hmm.
hours when
Over and over
it
and
would
over
have just, yeah,
again.
yeah, yeah. Which so it's funny to see how actors have evolved in the way that they do that now because we're so used to doing it on self-tapes. I think people have
Mm,
got used to the fact it's like you'll be doing it for hours if you know if you don't just
yeah.
get it done. So you always end up using the first few takes anyway. So I think everyone's now used to just like, okay, 3, 4 takes and like, that's it.
Hmm.
Wrap it up.
And that kind of leads me very nicely onto my next question, which I was going to ask, what are the biggest challenges of being an actor? But I suppose that's one of them. But do you feel there's anything else that might be a particular challenge that someone getting into the industry might face?
Yeah, I think the hardest challenges, honestly, are getting yourself in the room. I think
Mm,
that can be the hardest part because sometimes it's really not up to you, unfortunately, as to like who's going to see you. It's up to the casting directors
hmm.
and, you know, what projects are actually out there and if you're relevant to anything that's out there, which is hard because that's the thing that you kind of don't really have much power in, which then kind of leads back to what you were saying before with social media, where if you're in a position where you're really stuck for being seen for stuff, at least you can kind of take things into your own hands at
Hmm.
least and sort of head into the entertainment space by yourself. You can throw anything out there and then through that over time maybe casting directors and things will notice you. I think that's kind of the toughest thing, really,
Mm,
is just getting
yeah,
your foot in the
definitely.
door. But yeah, apart from that, you know, it's one of those jobs that's like the best thing ever when you're busy. And then when you're not, you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah, very rewarding at times and
Yeah.
not at others. And so, are there any particular qualities in actors that you really look up to, or is there anyone in particular in the industry that you look up to?
Yeah, actors are funny people. I really enjoy being around actors. Very, very open people, I feel like, you know, because your whole job is sort of having to stay in that childlike phase of like
Mm.
play pretend and you know, and so I kind of find that a lot of actors will have this quality, you know, and like you go to drama school and you have to pretend to be a tree for the day, you know, so it's just you're just used to having to be open-minded to be like, yeah, okay, fine, we'll do this. So yeah, you get to meet super, super interesting people, and I that was something I really loved about the higher stakes was that everyone on set had so much experience already and has been in the
Hmm.
industry for such a long time. So I got to really sort of watch them and see how they are on screen, but also off screen and on
Hmm.
those moments sort of between takes and really kind of learn from them, which was really fun. I was very lucky to be able to do that.
And I can imagine with such an incredible cast, I can imagine it was so much fun to be on set, especially.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Seth Green is on all the time. They yell cut and he's still like off on a thing. It was really cool to see him work like that.
Definitely. It must have been such an incredible experience.
Yeah.
And so we touched on earlier the kind of characters that you might like to try in the future or your favorite characters that you've played. But I'm curious to know, do you have a dream role or a dream set that you would, if you were to land that, you'd be like, okay, this is my I made it moment type of thing?
Oh, I don't know.
I
I
feel like
don't
that's a very tough question because there's just so much out there, but
it's yeah, there is there's so much out there. There's so much good work. I mean, like a series would be great because you're just booked and
hmm
busy for
hmm
a good amount of time, and you also have a good amount of time to really sort of bond with cast crew. You have, because that's the thing about acting as well. It's like, or any sort of role within the entertainment industry when it comes to movies and shows, it's like you all become such a tight unit, and then
hmm
everyone's off spreading out doing totally different projects, and it's rare that you get to really kind of keep in contact with people after that. And if you do, it's really special, and
hmm
so that's,
hmm
yeah, that's fun. But yeah, a series would be great. I mean, I recently like binged The Righteous Gemstones. I don't know if you've seen that,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it
yeah.
was hilarious, and I just thought all the actors, the actress that played, what's her name, I think her name is Edie.
hmm
She was the sister, and she was just wonderful. I just actors and actresses that can make me laugh are the ones I really look up to. And
hmm
yeah, that was fun. But anything. I love comedy, again, psychological thrillers, stuff that's got a good merge of genres as well. I
hmm
feel like it's
hmm
done really well when you can be scared but also laugh like a
Yeah,
second later. Like
100%.
I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, like you said, a series would be such an incredible thing to be a part of, but as well, maybe a comedy series, I can imagine that would
Oh
be
yeah.
so much fun to be a part
So
of.
much fun. Yeah.
And so my final question for you today is, what is your proudest achievement to date?
Oh my goodness. That's a
And
great question.
there's plenty of achievements I can imagine, so this is again a
Aw,
pretty hard one to narrow
aw.
down.
That's, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's like kind of, for me, probably little wins along the way.
Mhm.
Um, for me, I know, I felt so proud of myself when I got Find Me in Paris,
Mhm.
because that was my real sort of first acting job. The commercials were great, but it was like, oh, this is my first like character I've
Mhm.
booked, and so that was super massive for me. And then um, COVID hit, and for me personally, it just everything dried up, and it was so slow. And I know it was the same for so many actors out there, and like um, just to get back working felt impossible. So honestly, to get higher stakes after such a dry period was also such a win for me as well, because I had gone through phases during that,
Mhm.
ups and downs of a dry patch of like, I don't know if I can sustain this.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that kind of was a real boost for me, and that, okay, I don't have to give up yet, I can keep going, so that was a big win for me too. So I think kind of little things along the way, because the career itself is such like peaks and troughs, and you got to take the wins when they come. And um yeah, so I feel like they're all kind of equally up there for me.
100%. And I mean, it's like you said, it's kind of just about staying persistent until you find those wins because as you said earlier, that there's so much like fluidity
Yeah.
in this industry. So I can imagine that just booking anything must be so exciting.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, thank goodness. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Chloe. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you. And thank you for everyone at home for tuning in. I'll see you all next time.